Hello and welcome to Math 109, Section 91, College Algebra. While this is an online course and we won't be meeting face-to-face, I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself, talk a little bit about the course and some of the expectations throughout the semester. What we're looking at right now is the landing page, more or less, for the course. Every time you log in, you're going to see this page, and there are a couple of things that I would encourage you to at least quickly check every time you log in. The first would be to look for any new announcements. If this is collapsed by default, you can click that drop-down arrow to see any recent announcements, which in this case includes one that's already been posted. A welcome announcement giving you just sort of a brief welcome to the course, and just a highlight here referencing that all of our Module 1 assignments, so our first week of assignments, will be due Tuesday, January 21st at the end of the day. You can also see your overall score every time you log in. This number is always kept up to date, so as you complete assignments, as exams get graded, that number is going to be updated automatically to always give you a picture of where you stand in the course at this moment. The Start Here page has some other information that you'll want to read and watch through before you get started with the course. It would also be where you found this particular video. But what we want to do for right now is move on to the syllabus for the course, and while we won't talk about all of the information here, we want to hit some of the highlights to again just kind of get across some of the expectations of the course. What you'll see to start off here will be my contact information. If you need to contact me from off campus, I would strongly recommend email as the best way to do that. I typically respond to email within 24 hours. Over the weekend it may take me a little bit longer, but I definitely try to get back to you quickly so that you can get past whatever point or question you might be stuck on and keep making progress in the course. My office phone number is also listed here, but if I'm in another class or at a meeting, it just might be hard to catch me. You're also welcome to stop in my office hours, and I would encourage you to do so if you want to meet face-to-face to talk about anything related to the course. In terms of required materials, you're going to need to purchase online access to MyLabs Plus. You can either do that through Heartland's bookstore or directly through this website. Purchasing it through the website is the cheaper option, and you'll be prompted to do that whenever you open up your first assignment. You'll be prompted to either enter an access code or go ahead and purchase that code digitally. So I would encourage that since it is the cheaper method. You'll also need a graphing calculator. There are two models, either an 84 or an 89 that would be recommended. If you are going on to Math 151, Business Calculus, or Finite Math or some other business course, the 84 would be the model you'd want to purchase. If you're going on to Pre-Calc, Math 129, which means you're eventually going to take Calculus or Physics, some other courses like that, the TI-89 would be what you want to use. If you have a different calculator or you're unsure what to buy, please feel free to just contact me. You're also going to need online access to Desmos. This is a freely accessible site, so nothing you need to purchase, but just to make you aware, it's a tool we're going to use this semester. You're welcome to purchase a physical copy of the textbook, but I would only encourage that if you really prefer to avoid reading things on a screen. A digital copy of the textbook is included with your access to MyLabs Plus. So a physical book is really if that's just a preference for you to read material that way. You may also want a basic or scientific calculator. That can be any type. Graphing calculators won't be allowed on the theory portion of exams in this course. There will be an applications portion where you're welcome to use those graphing calculators, but for half of each exam, you'll be restricted to using just a scientific or basic calculator. The testing center will also have calculators you can borrow, so it just depends if you want a particular device that you would be more familiar with using, or if you're okay with whatever calculator they would give you that day. In terms of use of technology, this course is going to be a very technology-dependent course. Almost all assignments will be completed online through MyLabs Plus. Plus, we're going to be making use of Desmos, that other site that I mentioned. So what you really want to keep in mind is that lack of access to or malfunctioning technology may not be considered an acceptable excuse for late submissions. You want to start thinking about a backup plan now, so that if your personal computer fails, if your home internet connection fails, you want to have a plan in mind for what computer you'll use, where you'll go to get online, so that you can still meet those assignment due dates as they come along. Your attendance and participation are going to be required in this course, even though we won't be meeting face-to-face. This is going to take the form of completing weekly assignments and participating in occasional discussions. We won't have online discussions every week, but when they do pop up, those are going to be factored in as part of your grade. They'll primarily relate to interacting with one another, providing study skill tips, talking about topics in the course that maybe you're struggling with, and asking help from your classmates. There is a drop policy for this course. Anyone who hasn't logged in and completed at least one assignment by the drop date will be dropped. But if you're completing the week 1 assignments by the due date, that's not going to be an issue for you. Similarly with the midterm withdrawal policy, if you're accessing the course and completing assignments from week to week, that's nothing you're going to have to worry about. But if any of these conditions apply to you at midterm, you could be withdrawn from the course. So just be aware of that. But most of those relate to a student who simply just isn't continuing to work at the course. Homework will be completed online through MyLabs Plus. There will be a due date for those, and all assignments in this class will run from Tuesday to Tuesday. But homework can be completed late, but a 10% penalty would be applied. What that means, though, is that you should be able to complete every homework assignment in this course with at least a 90%, as long as you're willing to put in the time and effort to go back and get any potentially past due assignments. Quizzes, on the other hand, will be completed through MyLabs Plus, but will have a firm due date. Once the due date passes, if you haven't completed a quiz, you'll receive a 0 for that assignment. You will have the opportunity, though, to unlock a second attempt at quizzes. If you earn a 95% or better on all of the homework assignments associated with that quiz, you'll unlock a second attempt. So some additional incentive to do well on those homework assignments and lock in some high scores. And then practice quizzes will also be available to help you review and prepare. Exams in this course will be broken up into 2 parts, both of which have to be taken in the testing center. And this will apply to our 3 regular exams as well as the cumulative final. The first portion of the exam will be a theory portion, so very much like a traditional paper pencil math test that you've most likely seen in other courses. You'll be asked to solve problems by hand without the use of a graphing calculator or any other technology, just a scientific calculator, and then applying the concepts we've been learning. The second portion then will be an applications portion, where you'll be allowed to use a graphing calculator, Desmos, which we'll introduce throughout the semester, as tools to answer questions, and then our emphasis will be on applying those results to contextual problems. So trying to answer more real-world questions with the math that we're studying. You will have the opportunity with your final exam scores to replace a low exam score. So if you have a theory and applications portion that don't go well for you along the way, you'll have the opportunity to make up for that. We've also got the exam dates, grading structure, and grading scale here. Exams will run Tuesday to Tuesday, just like all other assignments. And during those weeks, we won't be introducing any new content. So exam weeks will be set aside for you to review, prepare, and then find time that you can come into the testing center to complete both portions of the exam. In terms of the grading breakdown, homework and discussions make up 10%, quizzes make up 10%, and then there's a different weighting for the theory and applications portions of the exams. So the theory portion, the traditional portion of that exam, of those exams are weighted more heavily at 60%, and then the applications exams all together make up 20% of your overall score. So both halves of the exam make up a substantial portion of your grade, but still weighted a little more heavily towards those theory portions. The FERPA statement is just letting you know that in order to protect your identity and personal information, I can only share information about your progress in this course with you. Meaning if you contact me electronically, that needs to be through your Heartland email address or MyLabs Plus, so I can make sure that information is only going to you. And then the last thing that we have here is our Spring 2020 weekly schedule. It will have a general pattern of either 3 to 4 weeks of content, and then that followed by an exam covering that material. So we'll see that exam 1 has a theory portion covering the content for modules 1 through 3, and then an applications exam, which just covers 1 week of content that we'll be hitting in week 4. So take a look at that schedule ahead of time, especially focus on those exam weeks so that you're aware of that need to come to campus during those weeks. It'd be a good idea to look at the testing center schedule ahead of time so that you can identify good times that work with your schedule to come in and test. Apart from that, apart from exams, everything else can be completed from home, giving you quite a bit of flexibility as long as you're getting things submitted by the due dates. Let's see. I think that's just about everything, but there's obviously information in the syllabus we glossed over. I would encourage you to read through that a little bit more carefully. If you have questions about anything in the syllabus or anything else related to the course, either what to work on or specific questions about the concepts we're introducing, please feel free to get in touch with me. I hope this turns out to be a successful semester for everyone, and good luck.